Hey everybody, welcome to Anti-Ruggers United, and today we have an AMA with Cheetah Finance. So let's get started by having Selfmade, who is the co-owner of Cheetah Finance. Introduce yourself, and then tell us a little bit about yourself, about your personal experience in crypto, and like what do you do in the real world? To like what are your qualifications? And if there's any other team members, just basically like a background about the team, like how you guys got together and things like that. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll start off with myself. My name is Frederick, or Selfmade here on Telegram. Um, I am the CTO, and I founded Team Uts, or co-founded, and then I co-founded Cheetah, which is made by Team Uts, which is the team. Um, and I have been developing as a hobby basically ever since I knew about um, PCs, which was I think age 13, 14. So I've been doing that, very basic stuff at the beginning, but then I started getting more into it. And as time went by, I started making money on it, and I really wanted it to become my full-time job. Then crypto happened. I got into the BSC scene of it all. Instead of
Wait, hold on, hold
investing
on.
in
So what were you making money on? And you said you wanted to make it a full-time job. What was it?
I made money on different stuff, but it was mostly things to do with encryption and reverse engineering. So it was nothing to do with really, what I do right now. But I did develop still in a lot of the languages that are used now. But at the time there, it was reverse engineering and encryption and decryption and all that stuff.
Oh, was it like something you were doing like a freelancer, or you were working for a company?
I tried to start my own, so I'd say kind of freelancing. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, and then I had some crypto before it all got big and hit the news, and then I had that kind of as a starting capital, and then I invested in it. Got really heavily invested in it, and then I discovered this BSC world where instead of having these big projects with massive liquidity pools, you could invest in these tiny ones. And then I also realized that I could make these myself. And then I started getting a lot into Solidity and all that stuff. And then I've been making projects on and off, developing for people for about 1.5, 2 years. And then I did my first big project called Polyino, which I made the contract and I was CEO for for a long time. And then the CTO, and that's where I met the whole team from Team Uts. Um, and then after that, some of the guys from that I met, we kind of parted ways. So they did other stuff, and some got really heavily into moderation, some get into the marketing aspects, and then I kind of just had this idea of making getting all these great guys together that I love working with, and then getting some for the marketing and for the moderation and for the technical stuff. And yeah, then we had Team Uts, and I can just quickly name who they are. So it's me as the CTO. We have Roclips as the CEO, so he's the kind of the front face to the community. Then we have Neckbite, who is the marketing officer. We have Lil Wario. He is the social media manager, who manages Twitter, Reddit, all that stuff. Then we have Guru. He's kind of an
Hey,
advisor.
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Are you hearing yourself, or is it
Yeah, yeah, I can hear that as well. I don't know what it is.
I don't see anyone else muted though. I mean unmuted. Let me see. Do you
That's
have
weird.
headphones on?
Yeah, I do, and it wasn't there just before. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it just started. Very strange. Yeah, let me look through the list if there's anyone unmuted because it was kind of annoying. All right, let me see.
Yeah.
No, it looks like everybody's muted. Okay, yeah, continue. If anything, I'll mute myself. I don't think it's me though because it usually doesn't happen. All right, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'll try again. Um, and then we have Guru, who is kind of in an advisory position, and then we have Ro, who is the design and production lead. So he makes all the graphics and the website you have up right now. He is the one who made all the graphics, the logo, and everything, and he handles a lot of the design theory behind the website, so the web developer can, they corroborate with each other. So that's kind of the core team, consisting of five, six, 7 people.
Okay, yeah, I actually remember Pool. We had an AMA with them, and when we had an AMA, they were actually mooning pretty hard. And they said that they had like a new team because they gave us a little bit of background. They said like the old team left, or they just gave the project to them, and then so you were like one of the original guys, yeah?
Yeah, so I made the contract, and I, did all the stuff, raised the pre-sale and all that stuff at the very beginning. And then as it came, I think it went peaked at like 4.5 or 5 million market cap. Then the current owner, Lightspeed, I met that guy and we started working together. And then I actually ended up, due to just work overload, I ended up giving him the CEO role, and I would be the CTO, and then we had a marketing lead. So we were kind of doing this uh, three split. And then due to some personal issues and stuff like that, I decided to just give them the full ownership, and then we had some development team that we kind of um, overtook my place upon my request. So that's why they had like a team change.
Okay, all right. So currently, how many you're the main dev for this project for Cheetah, and how many other guys you have?
So we're a core team of about I think 6 people. We're a core team of 6 people.
Okay, all right. And let's see. So is it currently launched?
Yeah, it
The
is.
token?
Yeah, it went it went down quite a bit due to the market, and then due to a relaunch we had. Um, there was a bit of waiting time, so I think some people wanted to get out of it, and then the original launch was way before the crash, and then we launched during the crash. So I just think it was like combined um thing of unfortunate events, but we're at a kind of like an okay point right now, and then we're trying to yeah, as you can see, and then we're trying to recover right now with some marketing and pushing the utility and all that stuff. But the volume is pretty low at the moment.
All right, let me see. I was trying to get the chart up.
It went from
Okay.
1 million, and I think, and then it went up and down, and then it slowly went down to where we're at right now. I think we're at 200,000. So it went down quite a bit, but we're slowly getting up.
All right. Let's see here. Cool. So this is you said you had a V2, right, or V1. So this is V2, this chart.
Yeah, this is V2 exactly.
What happened? What about V1? How did that one do?
So we did something called an angel pre-sale where people invested to get a percentage of the tokenomics instead of tokens. So this was to prevent this pre-sale dump, and it worked really well. And we peaked at 2 million market cap, which was really great. But then uh, a miscalculation in the contract happened, so we had to kind of relaunch, and we wanted to put in some extra security implementations and fix the calculations and just make it more stable overall. Um, and I think that due to both the waiting time and then due to the whole market crashing, the BNB price more than half the price from the time we launched and then from the time we did our V2. So I think it's like a mix of those things that made us drop quite a bit in market. But we
Is
still
there
have a
any
thousand
plans
holders.
for V3 or anything like that?
No, we don't plan on having a V3. We plan on having what we are at right now, and then we're just gonna start climbing. We have a lot of utility coming out, and we have a lot of marketing plans and a lot of partnerships. We also plan on migrating some projects onto ours, which means that if we have a project with 50 BNB liquidity, that liquidity will be added onto ours through buybacks. So that means we can actually climb rather quickly, depending on how many of these projects we manage to get onto the program.
Oh, okay, all right. So
Yeah, how will you manage such insane APY of 1 billion? What is your mechanism doing this thing?
actually, let's get to that later on, because I want to start by having like an introduction to the project, like a sales pitch. So introduce us the project first, what you guys are all about, and then after that we will talk about the APY. Because yeah, I wanted to. That's definitely a question I want to ask also. So, but before we do that, let's just give us the what the project's all about, and like I see there's no white paper, but I found an old one. Is that one still fairly up
It's
to date,
fairly
or?
correct, but it's not entirely correct because there's a lot of things that we did along with the rebrand, and there's a lot of things we improved on. But the overall aspect of the project is still the same, but we added a lot to it.
Okay, and also, did you guys do any pre-sales, like pink sale or DX sale, or how'd you launch?
No, no pre-sales, but we did our own DApp with what I said before, which was an Angels pre-sale. We did 300 BNB paired with 4% of the tokenomics. So that means that they invested BNB and then they're getting their own personal percentage, which is distributed from the taxes.
Okay, and is there like what I'm trying to find is there any like chart or the explanation for all the different tokens, like team tokens, let's say vesting, any of that?
Yes, we are planning in the white paper. It's going to be done in a day or two. So basically, if you go to BSC scan, you'll see that 20% of the supply is circulating, and then 80% will be vested. Or it might say another number, but that's due to the rebase. BSC scan doesn't show that properly. But 80% is locked in this vesting, and that is used to burn. So we burn 4 times more than what is rebased. So that means every 15 minutes where something is where people get their rebase, 80% of that is actually not even going to the circulating supply. That's going to be burned. So that's one of the ways we combat the high APY.
All right. Okay, yeah, I was just curious to kind of get an explanation for like this vesting and all this huge percentage, right? Because liquidity is only about 9%, and they have 56%. But well, I guess we'll get to that. Okay, so let's go back to the project itself. You want to do like an introduction, like a sales pitch, like kind of like a Shark Tank interview type of thing, where just tell us about your project, like the overall scope about it, like what's the plans, what's the purpose, what are the features of it.
Yeah, for sure. So Cheetah Finance is basically the highest yield auto staking protocol to on the entire network, with 1 billion APY, and you can actually get up to 2 billion APY with NFTs, but I'll get into that later. We offer a very, very wide variety of utility, which is the main, apart from the high APY, that is going to be the main selling points later on. So we have some crypto utility, which will be, or some tools, which will be things such as owner renunciation management. So you can renounce the contract without actually renouncing. So it's going to be for crypto project owners. Liquidity logging, token vesting, token locking. We're going to have smart contract checkers, automated. We're going to have a lot of utility there. So if you're interested in that, then we have that also covered. Without all these fees that most of these providers of these tools charge. We're going to have just a requirement of holding Cheetah. Then we have our NFTs, which will be utilized in 2 different ways. So we have 20% extra APY per NFT you get, so you can get up to 2 billion APY because it's capped at 5. You can hold more, but you won't get any APY rewards from it. And then another part of the NFTs is our P2E game. There you will be you can use your NFT for cosmetic purposes, but also potentially gain an advantage in the game. But first off, it's going to be cosmetic. So we have all this utility with the crypto tools. We have a P2E game. We have NFTs, and then one of the things that we are starting on first is going to be our gambling aspect. So we are going to have a jackpot section where transactions over a certain amount will count as entries into a jackpot, and then every week or day, it will give rewards to some of the transactions depending on how much you invested or bought and all that stuff. So that's going to function kind of as an ongoing buy competition constantly. And then we're going to have other ways, other kind of gambling DApps on there as well. And also within the P2E game, you'll be able to use your Cheetah just as with the gambling game. And this is also another way of combating the high APY, because if we have a lot of ways for people to spend their Cheetah, so they would have to buy more in order to spend even more, then we don't have to worry about the high APY as much as if the only reason or the only purpose would be to hold.
Okay, so another question I have is, I know you guys rebranded. Can you talk about that? Is that just the V1, the V2, and that was it, or is there more like major issues that were changed?
So we did a rebrand because we wanted to kind of the first the first branding was how the NFTs look. So it's like our animal cheetah mascot. It's looking very, it's a more cute kind of look to it. And we wanted the whole crypto utility tool, also the gambling and the technical aspects of our project. We wanted that to overshine the P2E game and all that. So we can kind of divide the project into two parts. So this is the rebrand, and that's going to be the token. And then we're going to have the P2E game separately. It's going to function with the token, and it's going to function with the NFTs, but it has this way separate look. And that's basically why and what we did for the rebranding.
So when are the NFTs coming out? Is there any information on them?
Yeah, they're already out. If you press launch app, you can on the website, you'll be able to go to a dashboard. Yeah, and then if you press mint, you'll be able to see the minting DApp. The amount of mint you're seeing right now, that is from the V1 launch. We haven't gotten a lot of mints for this one because we just started. So we got a lot of mints, and we do plan on marketing it a lot more. But our current focus is just establishing the project, getting the word out there, and all that stuff. And getting progression with the utility. And then once the market recovers a little bit more, hopefully if it does, then we can start doing the big marketing that provides all the volume. Because I think it's quite inefficient to do all that major marketing right now.
By the way, how the NFTs look like, and what is the utility for them?
Let me find a link real quick, but their utility is in the P2E game we're gonna have, where you can your character can look like your NFT, and then also for every NFT you have up till a maximum of 5, you'll get 20% extra APY, so you can actually get up to 2 billion APY instead of 1 million. But let me just find they're listed
20% multiplied. So instead of 1 million, it'll be like 1.2 million because it's 20% of 1 million, or how?
Yeah, exactly. Let me just I can send a link or like a link here to where it's listed at. It's in chat right now.
Okay, so if you said 1 million% APY, right?
1 billion, yeah.
So currently you have 1 billion% APY. Is that currently going on right now?
Yeah.
And how long do you have to lock your tokens?
You don't have to lock your tokens. That's the thing. It's auto staking. So from the minute you buy, you'll be automatically, staked within the protocol, and you can sell and trade and spend the tokens however you want, and you'll get the rewards every 15 minutes.
Okay, so let me try again. So 1 billion. Let me do the math real quick. Where's my spreadsheet? All right. Okay, so 1 billion. Can I say 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 divided by 365, and take that number divided by 100 to get x's. So wouldn't that mean that you're making 27,000 x a day?
No, so the thing is, because every 15 minutes you get it directly to your wallet, so it's auto compounding every 15 minutes. So it's actually way less a day. It's 4.51% every day.
Oh, but
So
if you over a year, it's 1 billion. But of course, every day
yeah,
you're gonna
because
auto
it's auto
compounding.
compounding. Exactly, yeah.
How much percent is it per day?
4.51, and with 5 NFTs, it's 4.71.
Okay, so let's say 4.5%. You launched June 8th, so it's been June 15th. Let's say it's been about a week, right?
Yeah.
Good day. Daily chart. Yeah, so let's say about a week, so 7 days. Okay, 7 times 4.5, so 31%. So basically, everyone that got on day one has 31% more tokens. But of course, price dropped about 80% or so, right? Something like that. Let me do the quick measurement. Price range. Okay, so we start from here. So about I was close, about 82%. So is there any kind of rebase? How does this all work? Because another thing with your token vesting 56%, you could only ever award 56%, right? So how are you going to get 1 billion percent APY when you only have 56% of tokens to award to stakers?
No, so it is functioning via rebase. So the tokens are minted. That's why you see the total supply. If you go to it, it started as 100 million, and now it's as you said, about 31 or so. I can't 37 percent extra. So the vesting we have, that's to burn. So that means it's actually 80%, but BSC is kind of showing it incorrectly because it's minting. So 80% of the supply or the rebased supply will be burned. So there's actually only 20% of the tokens rebased every day that are going to the circulating supply. The rest are going to be burned.
Yeah, but if you're minting a whole bunch of tokens and you're burning less than you're minting. Okay, so you're minting 4.5% a day, basically. How much are you burning?
80% of that.
So how does that work? So everyone is getting their 4.5%. So how does the burn work again?
The token vesting with 80% of supply, that also gets the tokens. So that means that it's actually only 20% of the circulating supply that of the circulating supply that is going to be rebased. The 80% that is vested will just be burned. So we're burning 4 times more than the circulating supply is getting.
Oh, I see. So these guys are also getting their 4.5%. The vesting contract is also getting
Exactly.
4.5%, but you're burning them.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the burn address? Where's all the tokens?
We do it every week, so we actually haven't done it yet, but we plan on doing that today. So
okay, so there's a question earlier, and this is what I'm trying to come to now, is how is this going to be sustainable? Because I mean, basically, even on the chart, right, it just dumped. So if you're going to keep minting tokens, each token is going to be worth less. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, well, you're going to get 10 times more tokens, because of, you know, APY, or a million times more tokens, but your tokens are gonna be worth a million times less. So then you'd break even, right? That's the thing with rebase. It's like we'll give you 100 times the tokens, but then what's gonna happen? It's not like it's gonna magically be 100x, because the value of the tokens will also decrease by 100 times. Unless you actually have investors coming in and buying, or, you know, you have buy pressure and sell pressure, that's really what's going to dictate the value of a project. You can't really print money out of thin air, as we've been seeing with the the federal government today. If you keep on printing money and, you know, giving handouts to people with their, you know, COVID bonus checks and all that, what's going to happen? Eventually, that they're going to end up losing actually more money than they got, because yes, some people got $3,000, $4,000 worth of, you know, checks, but now everything else is twice as expensive. So when you're making your $2,000-$3,000 a month, it's the equivalent of you making only $1,500 a month, because inflation is basically like everything's double the price what it was a couple years ago, especially like gas, right? So the thing is, you can't really create value out of thin air. So my question is, how will this be, how do you make this sustainable, or what is your plan to actually make profit for investors?
Good question. So basically, the value stays the same in such a way where the liquidity balance stays the same. So the liquidity pair doesn't get tokens, but I know the value will still decrease since the circulating supply increases. So kind of like, you know, you see Titano or Libera, they all go very high, but they're also printing money in the same way that we are. But the reason they are managing to sustain is because they have that buy pressure. And we did not have this at the beginning. We had it for the V1, which went very well, but we don't have it for this one. So, and I think that's due to the reasons I mentioned before. So the positive thing with these rebates is that the total supply increases, and that can inflate the market cap to make it look really appealing. But also, you would need a lot of buy pressure in order to actually sustain it. So that's our goal. If we can sustain the buy pressure or increase it from what it is now, we will be able to sustain the project. We just need to create that buy pressure, and I believe that if crypto recovers and we can start to establish this project a little bit more, then we can start generating a lot of buy pressure.
Hold on a sec, 1 second. Okay, so of course, yeah, that's kind of what I've been trying to say. And the thing is, with these type of tokens, where, you know, the chart is very hard to read, because, you know, it's kind of rebase, and you know, for example, when it goes back up to here, let's say it recovers back to where it's at, it's not really break even at that point. Everyone would making massive money, right? Because they would have way more tokens. So you can't really do the conventional technical analysis, or like really anything with a chart that's rebasing, because it's hard to compare. The only thing you can really compare is like market cap, or like what's the value of your tokens when you bought, you know, like June 10th versus let's say now, right? So a lot of times it's hard to track. So maybe that's kind of what devs are hoping for, you know, like to make it attractive, like you said, for, you know, investors to come in because they see a chart. But this is like a reverse rebase. This is like the chart is just going to dump, right? Because if you're going to be minting so many tokens, even if people are making money, the chart itself, it's going to go down lower and lower and lower, because you can't just have, you know, 1 billion of supply more and by the end of the year, and you're going to have a chart that looks even flat, right? Because I mean, let's be realistic. Your token supply will increase by 1 billion. Your price of the token should probably also reduce by 1 billion. If you have zero buy pressure, of course, if you have some buy pressure, you know, it goes 100x. It's not going to get reduced as much. But when investors going to look at the chart, it's not, and they don't even know it's a rebase. It doesn't look that good, right?
Definitely, and that's kind of, there's upsides and downsides to it, and so that's why I'm saying that in order for this to work, we need buy pressure, because the chart won't necessarily dump just because they're getting tokens. But if we're not getting enough buy pressure, as you see, of course people are gonna sell. But if we get that buy pressure, just like any other successful project, then we will manage even better than those projects because of the inflating supply, which will inflate the market cap as well, making it really appealing. But yeah, as I said, we need that buy pressure, and we're not having that right now, and that's why we see the downtrend. But yeah, that's why we're working on trying to get some buy pressure. But it's difficult in this market conditions. But we hope to establish the project and get the marketing once the market recovers a little bit more, and then we can start growing, hopefully.
See, because normally when we have let's say AMA where there's token already launched and they have a chart similar to this, if it's not a rebase token, a lot of times I would recommend, or this is what I would do personally, and like it's not financial advice, people can do whatever they want, but what I would do is I don't like to buy a chart that's just going downhill constantly, like just trending downhill. I want to see an actual reversal happen first that shows a sign of reversal, that there's actually, okay, that there's a bottom has been found. And yes, you might not end up buying the absolute bottom, but it's still safer in a way to buy even higher. Because the thing is, if you're going to try to catch the dips all the time, try to catch the lowest possible, you're going to get wrecked. Because here's what would happen. You would go and, let's say, if you're buying the bottom without showing any reversals, you would say, buy here. Let's say, okay, buy here. Oh, look, this little bit of green. Buy that one. Oh, you get burnt. Keep on buying. DCA down. DCA down. I'm going to buy maybe another one here. Oh, get wrecked again. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. Then, buy one here maybe. Okay, this looks like a reversal. Maybe this is the place to go. But then, boom, like it drops again even further. So what I would normally would do, and like if a chart that's downhill like this, is you want to find some kind of structure, like a double bottom or a sign of reversal, something maybe like this and like a W, right? Once it breaks this high, for example, so this is the lower high. When a chart breaks this, then okay, this is a sign of reversal. There's some confirmation that price is bouncing up. This is when you would buy. But if you keep on buying, like say here, who's to say it's not gonna go and go further down, right? But with the chart, like with the rebase token, it's hard to do this because most likely it will never actually reverse up here, just because of the way the rebase works, right? Because of it's the supply and it's minting supply. So that's why it's kind of hard to sometimes judge when the reversal is even happening, because you don't see it. Because maybe people are making money because you only minted double the supply, but the price has only dropped about it's 30%, so they're making good money, but you won't be able to see it on the chart because it's still gonna look like it's dropped, right? So that's kind of one of the negatives I would say about like reverse rebase tokens. Well, any kind of rebase actually, because it's kind of like the chart does not tell you the whole story. You would have to really know the fact that, well, the price only dropped 30%, but in that time, everyone got 2x tokens. So that's actually really good. It's almost double. People got 7% or whatever of return on their investment. But you won't really know that because it still might, let's say it slows down, because right now this is pretty steep, right? So it's actually slowing down right now. So it looks like maybe in the last day or two, it's not really dropping. So that's when people would have made money. But if you let's say, hold on, it's kind of hard to do this. Delete this. Let's say if it's going something like this, right? Then okay, from June 15th to June 22, price dropped only by 20%, but we got 40% tokens. Then that's good, right? That's good. And if it does this, then that's really good because you got 20%, 30% more tokens, and the price actually doubles. So that's actually more like 3x. So my point is, when you have the minting and the rebase, either this kind of rebase or reverse the other rebase where supply is actually dropping and price is going up, it's actually kind of hard to tell if anyone's making money, if it's a good investment. And I mean, it basically, the whole point of these is it tricks like the guys who don't really know what to look for. You know, like the kind of like the degens. It could trick the degens. Well, look, the chart looks great. Let's say this was a rebase token, which just keeps on going up and up and up. Chart looks good. Let's buy it, but they don't realize that everyone has half the supply. Or in this case, it could be, you know, be going down. Like chart looks shitty, but they don't realize that people are still making money because maybe the price is lower, like I said, but they also have double the tokens. So it's like it's harder to and then for the real investors that, you know, do this kind of analysis that I'm doing, it takes more time, a little bit more difficult, because you have to do your research to figure out, okay, this token, like until I'm talking to you, I didn't know, you know, like for example, if I didn't know on your website that you have a 1 million supply and you have 4%, I mean 1 billion APY and 4.5% a day, if you don't know that, then you might not even buy it. You know what I mean? So I feel that's kind of like the big issue with these high APY tokens, is because the chart is going to look bad no matter what. So I do feel like you need to do some kind of marketing or targeted marketing or some kind of ads or white paper or just kind of explaining this to investors and like plaster that everywhere so they know exactly what it means. Like, oh, the chart looks bad, like it dipped 50%, but in that time everyone got like 3 times the tokens, so they still made money, you know? That's what people want to see.
I totally agree with that. That's I totally agree with that. That's a very good input. And of course, the best case scenario would be to actually get an uptrend, because then regardless of whoever you are, it will look, you know, better than it being flat or going down. So we can still appeal to them, but then also the people that actually know that it's a rebase and all that stuff, they would be even more intrigued. So I mean, best case scenario, or like what we would very much prefer, is obviously an uptrend, to make it look more appealing, because it does not look appealing right now. And that's for a lot of reasons, including our very high APY. So, but yeah, we're, you know, today is the first start of like pushing some marketing through some AMAs and all that stuff. And as I said, we're just trying to kind of grow the community and the awareness of the project first, and then with the utility, and then we want to kind of go try to get a lot of volume once the market recovers, because a lot of the marketing right now, it's not as effective, because people are not too keen on spending as much money as they would if the BNB price was at 500, for example.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to tell you, like with the marketing, like, right, you need to have effective marketing. And so obviously you're here at Anti-Ruggers United, and you're gonna get your value, man, no matter what. Even if we don't have investors for, let's say, today or tomorrow, like we have smart guys in here, we have whales that, you know, might not buy it. That's what I want to tell you. Like sometimes people come with this kind of chart, and we're not gonna buy because it's just going downhill. But once you see some like a break of this line, for example, that's when we're gonna start buying, right? And the fact of you coming here and me explaining this to you, this is going to be value for you no matter what happens. Because I'll tell you honestly, if it went, a lot of AMAs you're going to be doing, and they're going to see this chart, they're going to probably say the same thing as me, and they're going to be like, well, they're actually not going to say only what I'm saying. They're going to just say, well, the chart doesn't look good. And I'm not telling they're going to say this to you. They're going to say, think about this to themselves. Like all the investors that are going to be in the AMA, they're going to be like, well, the chart doesn't look good. It doesn't look like it's a good time to buy. And also because the market sucks, things like that. So for you to, I would say, have the most bang for your buck and most effective marketing, it would be the best time to start marketing heavily if you could get a reversal going. But then it's also hard to get a reversal going, right, without any new people buying in. So that is kind of like the problem, especially not with the current situation in the market. it's like how do you get this to be able to capitalize on it to continue doing AMAs? Because once you have like a reversal, people are gonna start buying. But currently, right now, it actually doesn't look too bad. Like I said, this is fairly flat. But the other thing about pumps, and if you're gonna get a reversal, all these guys that have been waiting out here, that have been accumulating, that have been getting their tokens, they might start selling. So you have to make it attractive for whales to come in, for investors to know that they're not gonna get dumped on. It's like well, the chart is bad, it doesn't look good, but now the fact that it's actually slowing down and it's stable, it's not dipping as hard, that actually is a good thing. So maybe right now actually is a good time to market, because it seems like the dip is definitely, and I mean the momentum of the sell pressure has definitely slowed down a bit. So yeah, I think like it could definitely work. We just need to get some more attention behind it, some more hype, hopefully cause some reversals. So I know that you've been booking some AMAs with us, and you have a couple other ones booked. So like, what kind of funds do you have, for like what kind of taxes you have? Because I see this 15% buy tax, 16% sell tax. How is that distributed? Where's it going? How are you paying for the marketing?
So we have 6% going to the angels, which were the funds we raised at the beginning, and then we have 8% to marketing, and then we have 1% to liquidity.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, so we have 6% to the angels, which is the pre-sale concept we did at the very beginning, and also here for the relaunch we did a small one, and then we have 8% to marketing and 1% liquidity.
So 6% of the taxes going to angels.
Yeah.
And how much did they raise, and what did that go towards?
They raised a total, 300 at the very beginning, and we had around 70 BNB, 80 BNB in liquidity at the very beginning, and then we spent some on the rebrand, on the NFT designs, and some product development, and we did some marketing as well. We also used that to pay for a lot of the pre-launch marketing. And then we had to relaunch, and we did a small fundraiser again, or not a small one, but of roughly 100 BNB, which went to liquidity mostly.
Okay, so this 300 BNB, where did that go to? You said that didn't go to liquidity, right? That went to all the marketing and the development.
It went around almost 1/3 went to liquidity, and then the rest went to marketing, product development, and paying for designs and all that stuff.
Okay, so 300 BNB was raised by how many people?
We have around 160 people in the pre-sale.
Okay, so it's not really angel investors. It's more like a pre-sale, but nobody got tokens. So instead of tokens, you're giving them tax percentage, right? That's actually kind of cool, because we have a similar thing we're doing with our main token, that actually got this idea in October. It was like, oh, like to fund the development of the contract. I'm like, you know what? We'll just get who's down to get like 1% of taxes divided by 10 people, but you basically give like 1 BNB, and that's how we funded our contract with 10 BNB from like 10 guys that were basically would not get any tokens, but they would get 1%, so 0.1% each forever of our project that we have coming up. So that's very similar to this. So that's actually a pretty cool idea, pretty unique. The only thing is, like, yeah, there's 300 BNB, they get 0 tokens, but 6% tax, that is fairly high. That's gonna go to them.
It is.
All right, cool. All right, so I think, yeah, like if you could get this turned around, because see, the thing is, what's happening right now, you had 300 BNB, and you said you also raised 100 for liquidity.
Yeah, almost 100 for the V2. Yeah.
Okay, so basically 400 BNB, and this 400 BNB is how much investors put in. So they sunk in 400 BNB into this project, and currently the value of, just for example, the liquidity is 87 BNB. So you're like I always say, your token is only worth what the liquidity says it is, because you could never, even if you have like 100x, 1000x, $1 billion market cap, but if your liquidity is only like 100 BNB, nobody's going to be able to sell for more than 100, you know, 100 BNB. So I see that there's like, so the liquidity is like, why is it so low? If you put 100 into liquidity and about a third of the 300. Is it because people are just minting token? I mean, they were just selling, dumping in the liquidity. Why would it dump though? That's the thing. Why would it dump so much? Unless,
So I could
I'm
try to
trying to figure
explain
out,
some of it.
why it dumped 80%. That's the thing, right? If there's only 30% got minted, and if everyone got tokens they paid for, and all these guys actually did not get any tokens, just 300 BNB, who had tokens that they were able to dump so much?
No, so okay, so the first pre-sale we did with the 300, about I think it was 70 or 80 B. I think it was 70 BNB. Went to liquidity at the very beginning, and then we went to almost 2 million market cap. So we had quite a bit of liquidity, and then also we paid back over one third of the angel investors, so they got over one third of their investment back. Um, and then we had to relaunch, and all this stuff happened with the market, so we couldn't launch at the same market cap due to the value of the BNB being too low. So we launched with I think it was 160 BNB, which was a little bit lower than the original BNB we had before the stub of the first launch. And then just think due to the market and then due to the waiting time from V1 to V2, I think a lot of people sold. So that's the reason behind the dump.
Okay, all right. Okay, so basically, your goal is, what you need to do is going to need to convince investors, that it's worth it for them to come in, because that's the thing, right? When they see this chart, they're like, well, even if the guys currently that have not made money, they're actually down, and the thing is, it's kind of hard to say, well, if I buy now and price is gonna go up, all these guys that are down, there's a lot of resistance, right? Because a lot of people, like, psychologically or mentally, if they're down, they might not sell, but as soon as they break even, they sell. That's why support and resistance levels, where technical analysis actually works so much, is because it's psychological levels where traders are trapped. So a lot of times people are like forced to, oh, I'm already down 78%, I'm not gonna sell. But as soon as they're breaking even, a lot of them start selling. So that's one danger about having a token where people are down. I'm not saying just price wise, but let's say like value wise, because it also depends on how many tokens you have. If they're down, because a lot of times they feel like fighting, or they just feel disgruntled. And when they finally have a chance to break even, a lot of them start selling, you know. So I see, like, your job is to convince, more investors, kind of get this going, spread the word around, and I think that's kind of like the main thing that's gonna make you guys successful.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we're trying to do at the moment, just to spread the word, and then hopefully we can start picking up slowly, and then as soon as signs of reversal is happening, then we can start to capitalize on it, as exactly as you said. And then we're trying to, in the meantime of doing these AMAs, for example, we're trying to establish the project a little bit more, building the utility and all that stuff, so it actually has a purpose for the investors other than strictly, investing to sell shortly afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. And you were saying about the game. You said you have a game, or plans for a game. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And also,
Yeah,
do you have a
so
roadmap?
we don't have a roadmap right now. We had one on the previous website, but we decided to take it down to kind of do some changes because things have changed due to the market and to the V2 launch and the rebrand and all that stuff. But we want to add a roadmap. But the game is gonna be basically it's gonna have a same theme as the NFTs, and then it's gonna be a roguelike-ish game. But it's gonna be infinitely it's gonna be procedural generated, so you can play it indefinitely, and then you can upgrade yourself. You can collect coins, which is gonna be Cheetah, and then you can spend Cheetah to buy stuff that makes you better in the game, but also you can buy cosmetics with it. Um, and I think that's a good way to kind of um, incentivize people to spend their Cheetah in order to buy more, which could be one way to kind of gather some buy pressure. And the same way we're implementing with the gambling-ish kind of part of the project.
Okay, all right, cool. Thank you. And you have a timeline for that? And how are you gonna fund it?
So the game is gonna be later on because we need quite a bit of funding on it, and we don't have that due to the volume. But so the first thing is going to be all the gambling stuff because we can get that up without any additional funding really, um, and then also the crypto utility I mentioned, and then hopefully at the time when we are done with that, we can get people playing that and having fun with that and all that stuff, and then we can get the funding for the game.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, guys. So I'm done with my questions, and let's open it up to the community. Any questions from the community?
I kind of missed the beginning part of this. So I was kind of, because you said that this was like a reverse rebate or rebase. And I was wondering how so.
Well, I guess I don't, because I don't know what's rebates, what's not, what's reverse rebates. Because initially when we heard of rebase tokens, it's the kind of tokens where the supply actually gets divided, gets reduced, and the price goes up, right? Like, oh, because it makes the chart look good. So yeah, it went up 100x, but everyone has like 10 times less tokens or 100x times less tokens, so they're breaking even, but it makes the chart look good. So that I consider that as the rebase because that's like the original one, and reverse rebase would be the opposite, where you're actually minting tokens instead of reducing tokens. You're minting tokens, so then the chart actually looks like it's going down because those tokens get minted and they then loses value, of course, because you can't just mint tokens and sell them and keep the price the same. So that would be like sell pressure on the chart. So that's kind of what this one is, basically to provide 1 billion% APY. They're minting 4.5% tokens per day and providing that to the holders. But of course, with holders getting tokens all the time, the token value will drop because it's like they're getting free tokens just for holding.
I get it. I get it now. Okay. Yeah. So is the contract separate? Is like for like, man, what am I trying to ask? Oh man, I'm sorry. I just had a brain fart. Is self-made? Are you the CEO of Cheetah?
I'm the developer and co-founder.
Okay. I sent you a DM just so that you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really interested in the project. This kind of reminds me of a couple other projects that are going right now. What's the daily ROI?
In terms of the APY,
Yeah.
4.51% and 4.71 if you have 5 NFTs.
And that's daily? Is there any
It's
compounding
daily.
on that?
Yeah, it's every 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
how he gets to 1 billion because it's assuming you're gonna compound it for the whole year.
yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So this is kind of similar to like Drip or like the like Piggy Bank or something like that.
Yeah, you
I,
could say that. Also, like Titano and Libera and all that.
Okay.
yeah, like the 10. I don't think Drip does this.
Well, they do
Like
mint token.
APY.
They do mint tokens if they run out of if for some reason they can't pay the fees, then they mint more tokens to be able to pay the ROI or whatever. And then they do the daily compounding. They're only doing 1% though, so 4.5, 4.6. That's high. I think that's the highest one I've seen yet.
Well, yeah, that's why it's 1 billion. 1 billion APY.
Are you the guy from Sacramento?
Who?
The one talking, the guy from the anti-ruggers.
Yeah,
You're the one from Sacramento?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've talked to you before. I live in Sacramento as well.
Were you here for another AMA?
I might have been a while back. I talked to you in the actual chat though a couple of times.
Oh, was it this account or did you have a different username?
No, it was this account.
Oh, okay, because there's a couple guys from SAC. There's one called SAC916. He hasn't been around for a while. And the Apollo 13 guy is actually from SAC too, the Apollo 13 dev. And
Okay.
a couple other guys.
Yeah, I think it was you that I spoke with. Your name looks familiar.
Yeah, probably.
Right on. Well, yeah, no, I'm really interested in this. This. I like that 4.6. That's really lucrative.
I mean, it's like the thing is you got to realize, like, of course, I'm sure you know, is it's 4%, 4.6% on the tokens, not on your money, right?
Yeah.
So
So I mean, as
if
long as
everyone's
it's
getting the same amount of tokens, then the value of eventually is going to even out. The only way to really make money is you have to bring investors in. You have to bring more. You have to bring people buying the token. That's what you really need. You have to get people buying.
yeah, because I mean, everything's based off of the tax, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, it's just supply and demand, right? If price needs to for the price to go up, people got to buy.
Yeah.
And because the thing, the way PancakeSwap works is you have a ratio of tokens to BNB in liquidity pool. When someone buys tokens, they're essentially removing tokens from liquidity pool and adding BNB to the pool. So the ratio changes and makes the price go higher. When they sell tokens, they take BNB out of the pool and add tokens into the pool. So the ratio drops and the price drops. That's basically how it works.
Gotcha.
So for you to make money, people have to buy.
Well, I mean, I would think that with the compounding daily, that I mean, you're making money.
Yeah, the
So
thing is though, if it's compounding daily, everyone else is also making the 4.5% and people are selling. That's the issue with these kind of projects. That if you don't stop people from selling, if they're selling at 4.5% every day, then the price is just going to keep on dropping. You know what I mean? If nobody sells, like if nobody sells and they get the 4.5% a day, then yes, you'll after like let's say 30 days or 20 days or so, you're going to make your 2x because you have double the tokens and the price is stable. But the fact is, a lot of people sell this as soon as they get their their tokens, or every day they sell the tokens that they get, so they could continue getting more and more tokens, and they just continue selling and selling. What I
with
mean? Because if you don't, the
like
thing is, if you
whenever
don't do it, someone else is going to do it.
when you compound though, does the like because like for example with drip, like whenever you compound with drip on the daily basis, it resets your say if you locked it for a year for the compounding, every day that you compound it resets that clock. So like basically like if I compound for a year and then I decide to stop compounding at the end of the year, I still have a whole nother year before I can even pull my money. I can only pull out
Yeah,
whatever I'm compounding or whatever I'm getting daily.
but this one, I don't think this one is. Is it? Do you lock for staking? Do you have to lock your tokens?
No, it's automatically staked, and you don't have to log anything.
See, because I feel that's the issue. I feel if you could basically, like, you're not going to get your 4.5% unless you lock. and you got to lock for like say 7 days, 14 days, when not 28 days, whatever. And also all the tokens that you make during that lock are also locked. So let's say you lock 1,000,000 tokens, and the 4.5% is also locked, and after 7 days you could withdraw everything. Then that would actually, of course, people will still sell as soon as their 7-day lock is over. But instead of dropping in value every single hour or so because people are selling as soon as they get their tokens, they're gonna have to be locked. And the thing is, if they're not locking, they're not making any APY. So then the other people could get more APY, or that extra APY that could be going to burn or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Also, I mean, do you have any anti-whale um, things like set in place? Like, I mean, I heard something about the sales tax being pretty high.
It's 16%.
Oh,
And my
16?
tax,
Yeah,
my
that is
tax,
not very high.
it's about 15, 6, I think 16 for both. So round trip, it's fairly high. It's about 30%. So you either have to wait like, I don't know, like a week to get the 30% back in your tokens, or the price has to go up by 30% to kind of break even. And I feel that might be another issue, because it takes a while to kind of break even because of the high buy plus sell tax too. But I do feel, if there's possible, if you for staking, because these guys are they don't have to lock their tokens. They're all getting free tokens, 4.5% every day. So they could just end up selling them all the time. Of course, then you won't get your 1,000 or 1 billion APY. But if people are going to be selling them, that won't matter, because then the price is going to go to zero, because everyone is selling them immediately. So that's why I would recommend to maybe think about only doing this for people that have locked their tokens. I don't know, it doesn't have to be 7 days. It could be like 24 hours or 48 hours. As long as you lock your tokens and you cannot sell, including the ones that you made with the APY, then I think that would actually maybe be a lot more beneficial. I would say do like a 30-day or 60-day lock, because if you want this chart to turn around and for people to oh wow, look, the chart is actually looking good, there's a reversal happening, and for it to catch on, I think that might be a better thing. Because yeah, maybe at the end of 30 days it's going to dump, because investors are going to get unlocked and they're going to sell before anyone else. But at least that would actually provide some hype that, oh look, this project went from 195,000 market cap to 2 million in 30 days. I just think it's something to think
Yeah,
about.
I think that's some good input. And it's definitely something we could do. Adding, making the staking external outside of the actual contract, and then disabling the auto staking, and then doing it on the website as a D app, for example, and then just getting all the tokens from the vault that we're having, for example.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to explore. We could definitely try to work with that, because we are interested in changing some of the fundamentals in order to make it more sustainable. We just have to figure out the right ways, obviously.
And you could even do like NFTs, like for the first 100 wallets to lock their tokens with a certain value, let's say, or first 100 stakers, they get a certain bonuses. And also people will be rushing to stake first, because they'll also be the first ones that could on stake, and they'll be the first ones to be able to sell. You know what I mean? So I think if you implement that, there's going to be a rush to stake tokens.
For sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because first of all, if this was me, if I'm an investor, and I know you're going to be changing this rule to where now you could only get your APY if you stake for 30 days. I'll be the first one, man. I'll be the first one to stake. I'll be like staking all of it immediately, because I know that as soon as you could unstake, there's going to be a huge dump. Because the thing is, if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it, right? It's kind of like, if there's 100 people that are going to be doing it, and even though the project is good, wouldn't you still, just for financial reasons, wouldn't you want to sell first, then before anyone else, and everyone else is gonna sell, and then you can buy the dip? You know what I mean? Like, that's just smart investing.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good idea. That's definitely something we could consider implementing or changing.
All right, cool,
Then
man. So,
also,
yeah,
we could put in some kind of anti-whale tax where, say, if somebody, is dumping, under $1,000, then they have a small, they only have to pay the regular tax of like 16%. But if they come in and they want to dump $100,000, then the tax ends up being a little bit higher. So that way, if I have some small, can still dump all their stuff, but they have to pull it out over a longer period of time, which gives your chart a way to stabilize as they're pulling their money. But
This
if
is
they want to
also
dump on the chart and they want to screw your project, then you tax them real heavy, and they have to like pay that high tax to balance out their dump.
Yeah, this is also a way. We decided not to do any manipulation in that way. We didn't want to kind of um, make it so people can't sell if they want to, because personally, I don't like that concept where if I had a lot of tokens in a project, I couldn't even sell if I wanted to, kind of, or at least I would lose a lot of money. But
The thing
and
is that
it
you're
would
still
kind of.
able to sell. The thing is you're still able to sell, but you're encouraging people to sell smaller amounts at a time. I mean, I could sit there and take out $1,000, take out $100,000, and so many hours doing it $1,000 at a time, and not have to pay the high tax. But if I want to be greedy and I want to just pull all of my money at one time and dump on the chart, which is really just kind of a shitty move on an investor's part if he actually respects the project, then he's penalized by having to pay the higher tax. It's not that he can't dump his money. It's just that you have to dump it in smaller amounts to not get taxed. So that way the chart has a chance to actually balance itself out as it's going instead of just dumping,
but the thing
Because I
is,
mean, if
there's
you get
also realize,
if you get $100,000 dump, that's a big red candle. But if you get $1,000 dump and then somebody buys $1,000 worth, and then another $1,000 dump, somebody buys $500 worth, and so on, well, your chart will balance itself out instead of having just one giant red ass candle, which makes other investors think, oh shit, it's a rug, and they instantly start dumping their money.
yeah, I mean that is a point, but you also have to realize that to make a project moon, you need whales, and if you have anti-whale measures, then it's gonna disincentivize whales from actually joining, you know,
I mean, not
and
necessarily, because I mean, you're not making it where they can't take their money out. You're just making it where they're taking their money out more responsibly instead of just dumping on the project. The problem, one of the biggest problems with the BSC space is people come in. Yeah, your whales do come in, but they have no respect for the projects. They come in, they get that first 10x, 5x, whatever it is, and then they dump. But if they are able to dump, but in a more responsible way, instead of dumping all at once, like it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't, they can still pull all of their money out, you know what I'm saying? But instead they have to pull it out in smaller increments, as to not dump on the chart. It's all about just keeping your chart going good and not
yeah.
having you dump.
But the thing is, here's also another thing is when a whale dumps, that just gives a opening for new investors to come in, right? And if they're just slowly sinking the chart, at the end of the day, it's gonna still end up doing the same thing. It's gonna end up, you know, dropping over, let's say 3-4 days instead of over, like 1 hour or so. And a lot of times, like for example, we have a project, we have a NanoCap, and we actually want what we like waiting for people to dump. We like want someone to dump because as soon as it happens, we come in and buy it up. We have either our investors or team members. We've been buying up the chart every dump. Like we actually encourage people to take profits and dump their bag. Like, hey guys, if it's life changing money for you, just don't forget to take profits. And I feel like it usually is not the case when one whale dumps and then the chart just gets wrecked completely, like 70%, 80% dip or whatever, unless the liquidity is really poor. But then it's like, how did that whale get in that early, that cheap, to where they could dump the whole bag and crash the price, 70, 80%? That just means that the liquidity is so bad that the market cap is way overinflated, and I don't even know how that would happen, because for that to even happen, no one else should be selling. So I don't really see an issue where a whale is the first one to sell at the top and then crashes the price, because if the liquidity is that low, I feel like it would crash a lot sooner, because you have small investors taking profits also. So I don't really see that really as a big issue, to be honest, unless it's like 100x, and let's say your market cap's like 100 million and your liquidity is only like 200k, then of course that's going to happen. But that's why you have liquidity tax, you have other measures, things like that, that you should not really have a project going to 100 million market cap but only 200k in liquidity. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, yeah, if whales are too restricted, like let's say I come in with $100,000 buy, but I know I could only sell maybe like 10k a day, so it'll take me like 10 days just to sell my profits, if I do get a profit. And also there's 30% tax on top of that, so I literally have to make 130,000 or 130,000, 1.3x just before I could break even. Then it's going to disincentivize the whales from buying the project.
I mean, you could do it even where you could dump like 10 grand at a time without, with the low tax. I mean, you can like work it however you want. But I mean, like Drip, for example, they have the way they have their setup is like based on percentage of like the amount that you have, the percentage that you have of the coin. So if you own 1% supply, then you pay an extra like 5% tax or something like that on sales. If you own 50% of the total supply, or I think it's 10% of the total supply or something like that, then it's like 50% tax. It's pretty interesting the way that they have it, and I feel like it's what has allowed them to really sustain that project, because with these high ROIs and the compounding and everything, like the dumps are huge, are really huge. Like I've seen some like multi dumps on Drip, and I mean, because of the way they have it set up, they've been able to sustain it. Just a thought, though.
Just want to say thank you for the feedback. It's honestly really helpful, and I think there's a ton of things to consider after this AMA in terms of changing them things and improving on some things, and also just to strategize in general. And yeah, we will definitely be taking this feedback and utilizing it, because I think it's some very valid points, especially with the targeted marketing and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I discussed this actually to other AMAs, and they're like, there's sometimes devs that go to AMAs and with this kind of chart, and then they complain why no one's buying, during the AMA, right? So I kind of wanted to let you know, it's because first of all, just because a project does an AMA doesn't mean it's going to guarantee any buys. You have to sell your project, because if it was that easy where all I have to do is pay 2 BNB to do an AMA, and then you have like 10 BNB plus a buys, I would be doing AMAs nonstop. Every project would moon. But the thing is, you got to sell the chart, you got to sell your project. Second of all, it has to look like it's a good time to actually be buying. And third thing is, just because buys aren't happening during the AMA, that doesn't mean the AMA was not great, because now everyone else knows about it. There's about 300, 2,000 people that are informed that did not know anything about this project that will know now. So, they could be looking at the chart, they could put it on their, their watch list. And the thing is, like I said, like I normally would not buy a chart anyways that's already launched with a completely downward trend until I see a reversal happening. So yeah, I want you to take this advice and potentially when you're talking to the AMAs, make sure they know, like they realize that, yeah, just because the chart looks like this doesn't mean people can't make money, because like I said, it could even go down, it's a 50% drop in price, but if everyone has double the tokens or triple the tokens, then they're making money.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, I'm completely aware that this is not a sign of a bad, inefficient AMA or whatever. Because yeah, I'm fully aware of all that, and the primary goal of this is not to create a ton of bias and all that. The primary goal is to, as you said, create awareness of the project, and then hopefully we can spark some light in the project and hopefully take off in one way or another from there. That's at least the goal for it.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully, yeah, you get some, good free consult, well, included in the AMA consultation, some advice to help you out. And, feel free to always be active in our chat, because we actually like it when devs are here, after AMAs. We have guys in here that we had AMAs years, like not years, but like let's say half a year ago, and they still come like almost every week with updates. And those are the projects we hold. We hold projects where we see because we don't have time to be in 300 telegrams and keep track of 300 projects. So the ones we usually hold are the ones that we see devs coming in and chatting us up and giving us updates, and we see that they're actually working. No joke. I literally had a project that I bought like 2 months ago or like a month ago from Pink Sale. I didn't sold a single token. I think I paid like 1 BNB for it, and I look at it and it was like worth 3 or 4 BNB. But and then look at the chart and it was up like 30x from now, like at the all-time high. I'm like, holy shit! Like if I actually realized I had this token up when it was like worth 100 BNB or whatever it was, I would have dumped it immediately.
Damn. Yeah.
Like 100x, and I'm like, I just look at it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have dumped it, of course, but like, it depends on what the chart looked like. If it was all-time high, I would not dump it. I would probably maybe take profits. But if it's on the way down, let's say 50% down from all-time high, then usually those projects can't recover. Like usually crypto projects have like one big pump, if at all, and then like you normally don't see a consistent increase in price. You see 1 or 2 pumps maybe, and that's it. Then it dies off. So yeah, that project, I'm like, damn, like I didn't even know I had this token. I would have made like 100
Yeah,
BNB on it.
damn, that's unfortunate.
But yeah, guys, to wrap it up, any more questions?
I have a question. I don't remember if you actually answered it. For example, let's assume you invest $1, right? So at the end of the year, you would have $1 billion.
You would have $10 million, but still, yeah.
$10 million. Okay, so let's assume now we have 100 people that invested in this $1, right? So now you have $1 billion for only 100 people. From where this money will come from?
That's the whole idea that we talked about, where this idea will only really be sustainable if we have this sufficient buy pressure and sufficient volume. So
$1 billion.
It's not $1 billion. It's in tokens.
But of value, yes, I understand, but it's of value, so you need it in the liquidity pool, right, to sell it. So, but it's only like 100 people. What will happen when you have like 1,000 people or 10,000 people?
Well, is the liquidity pool also getting rebased? I don't think so.
no, it's not. Yeah. So the value stays the same in theory.
Yeah, but that's the point, It's, for example, when you have the more people actually invest in this, it's like at some point there is not enough money in world to actually pay it out,
Well, yeah, that's why honestly, like anything, even like 1% investments or Ponzi schemes that pay out 1% a day, they're not sustainable because even as a trader to day trade and make 1% a day in your investment, it's very difficult to make 1%, especially once you get over the $1 million mark. Because people are like, oh, I can start off if I start off with $1,000 and I make 1% a day. After 5 years, I'm going to be a billionaire. And that's not the case because the more money you have, the harder it is to make 1% a day. You know, why do you think Warren Buffett? He can't just go in and buy like $20 billion worth of Apple stocks, $20 billion worth of AMC or some meme tokens. There's no way, because if he buys even a couple $1 million worth, it's gonna get the price to go up. You can't just. The more money you have, the harder it is to move the money to make a trade, because your price impact will just be way too high. That's why you have these big banks or hedge funds that are making 20% a year, and then you have some, and that's really good actually. And then you have some housewife that's like, well, those hedge funds that know what they're doing, they're only making 20% a year. I make 200%, and then that's because they bought $200 worth of stocks, and now it's $400 or $600. It's not the same thing, you know. You can't compare, you know, buying like $200 worth of stocks to making a 3x versus making a 30% on a $5 billion account. And of course, none of this is sustainable. Like 1% a day, Ponzi's, or promising 3%, 4% a day, because like you said, the numbers are crazy, right? After 1 year, you get like 1 billion% or whatever it is, or like even with 1% a day. Like let's say a trade account, and I'm making it 1% every single day. After a year, I'd make like, I don't know, like 1,000x or something like that, or 100x, some crazy amount.
You would actually bankrupt your broker to pay it out.
Yeah. Let me just tell you, okay, so like if I have $100,000 stock account and I make it 1% a day, right? 1% a day. So I start off with making $1,000 per day. And let's just make it simple. So let's say 365 days, because of course stocks don't get traded every single, you know, day. Let's just make it simple. Let's say it's a crypto account, 100,000 crypto account. If I'm making 1% a day, so in 1 year, my $100,000 will become, let me do the math. So the math is 1.01 to the power of 365. 365. That's 37x. So that means my $100,000 account will be 3.7 million in about a year. And you think in that next year, your 3.7 million is going to go also 1% a day? If you get your 3.7 million times 1% a day, do you want to know what that number is going to be? Let's see. 3.7 times, that would be $139 million. So people are trying to tell me that you could make 1% a day for 2 years and turn 100K into 139 million. I don't think so.
I don't think so too.
It's not sustainable. Well, okay, guys, when I want to do this, everyone here, I'm going to give millions of dollars, okay, away. So make sure you stick around for 2 more years.
My first 1 million, I'll cheat.
Why there's the cap on wallet and
And then when I have $137 million and I do 1% a day on that, then next year I'm going to have a billionaire.
Elon Musk is second. You start tweeting.
I'll be richer than Elon Musk soon, and everyone's gonna be like, Bora's tweeting, Bora tweeted. Let's go raid Bora's Twitter. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. So, do you want to do like a final statement, conclusion, and we'll wrap up the recording, and we'll do the giveaway after.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to quickly announce that we have a buy competition going on until the 18th. So if you want to check that out, if you were planning on investing, if you're you can check it out. Otherwise, thank you so much for having us on. Thank you for all the constructive feedback. It really like a valuable AMA for us, so I really appreciate that. So yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for coming here. As definitely enjoy having this AMA here. It was very unique, I guess. I've never seen a 1 billion APY before. So it would be interesting, definitely, to follow along, see how it goes. And yeah, like, just suggestions that we gave you, you might have to do it like a V2 or something, or V3 to implement some of this. But definitely I want to follow along, and I want to see some reversals happening, because like I said, we like, especially in a chart that we launched, you want to see some bullish, some sign of bullishness, especially with this market right now too. Being that's another issue with, it's hard to get investors when everyone's scared and everyone's selling their BNBs. Then like, what are you going to end up with?
Yeah, exactly.
So thanks, guys. I'm going to end the recording, and we'll do the giveaway after this. So thank you.